Hey dude, what DPS should I be looking at for mid-tier gear in PoB? Trying to build something with Tectonic Side for some only 400k on a 5 link. Mid-tier gear 100 or 200 celery? $200. Kind of hard to tell. I would say mid-tier gear now after the patch would probably be 500 PDPS. I think is a fair estimate after the patch. No, come on. Once the patch notes out, not tonight, but tomorrow. And I will be staying up for and doing the patch notes live. We're doing an everything explained while waiting for it, and yeah. An item with good life and rest rolls, or an item with suboptimal life but extra damage mod. Depends a little bit. On softcore, then you can on softcore you can consider doing more damage. Just if you're starting to die a lot, increase your tank. On hardcore, then pretty much always the life. John, thank you for the tier 1 sub. How much PDPS will a really good Valais have after the patch? I don't know for sure. These are just random guesses, but right now a pretty good axe has like either 600 and like Fortify. They still have Fortify on axes, right? I'm trying to remember. They changed that too recently. And like probably at least like 700 DPS will be a good Valais after, or 800. So just favor will probably be like 650, 700. With 30 quality, probably more because it has so much flat. University series is great. I really enjoy it. Thank you. Thanks for the awesome 6-star everything explained. As a new player, it's super helpful. Awesome. I'm also going to try to do 2 or 3 shorter videos too. Is tanky melee better for hardcore than a spellcaster? No, generally spellcasters are fairly superior. They just the way they scale and how easy it is to get everything. What amount of HP is enough for softcore to be able to do all content without being one-shotted from everything? 5k usually? Then it's more about like your movement and dodging boss kills. If you actually want to face tank things, then like 7k and a proper tank. So at the moment, what we're doing is we're just going to do a proper Q&A. So I'll try to answer as many questions as I can from chat. Do you think you said in your map video about the way the drop tiers apply to unique maps, and are there any general rules that apply to them? There's no like special tricks for getting uniques. It's mostly farming div cards, bestiary, and things like that. Are you taking PoE University suggestions? I would be surprised if you could give a suggestion that I haven't thought of for like next league start, but yes, of course. This is the amulet where I missed. And you haven't done anything to this after. So when you were combining these, did you have one amulet that had reduced restoration and another amulet that had reduced restoration for malevolence and then awakened those together? And there was like nothing else? You haven't annulled it afterwards or removed any mods? They should work together. Weird. I would have thought that would have worked. That is strange. Are you sure you didn't have any other influence mods? Do you think the harvest mechanic will have a strong positive effect on SSF gearing? So that depends a little bit on how they do it. That can very, very easily go wrong. It could end up feeling very, very bad to get the crafts you need at the wrong time. Like, fuck, I'm 2 maps away from finishing like the div cards for whatever thing, and like you get the craft that you've like been wanting for, and you, from what it seems up, you can't save them like bestiary, which could feel really, really bad. Hardcore boss milestone guide, 1 HP defenses. Well, I sort of go over those in the everything explained. But probably I should be more clear with it. What's the point of Eternal Birkenay if Royal Birkenay is just better? That's an excellent question. So a lot of the time, the bases that are listed on the wiki, even though they're like further down and higher bases, they might not be the best ones. So for example, Siege Axe would be the best axe for most things. Royal Birkenay has higher armor than Eternal Birkenay, and even a lot of filters for a long time would show Eternal Birkenay as the highest and best armor base. So Eternal Birkenay does still have an advantage, and that is that it has a lower strength requirement. It's the best method for spawning Awakener 8 quickly right now. Running into the maps and doing like I think you just need to do 100 kills and then technically leaving, but you do need to do like high tier maps still now. This streamer should definitely see a speech therapist. Interesting. Reserved is the same group. They nerfed this on start of the Conquerors. You also can't do double curse on hit rings anymore. You can definitely do double curse on hit rings. I'm pretty sure that was not correct. Pretty sure that was just something people thought you couldn't do anymore. But yeah, I remember they changed preservation. Now I'm tempted to try to make a double curse ring. What kind of build? Let's say 4 would make a good combination for group SSF. Summoner, bow build, like an axe or sword weapon build, and then like a spellcaster. Spellslinger is a starter build, yes. Are you gonna shave for league start? I don't know. Are you gonna participate in the new race on Harvest? I'll be racing for most likely first 100, maybe the laptop thing as well. That is pretty cool. How do you progress gear when you hit maps? I feel like I lose progression after 1 week of running maps without gear upgrades and progression. I feel like running in circles. That's sort of like you just need to get more comfortable with items and realizing what's an upgrade. Putting them in like path of building would help, but like as soon as you get maps, you should like be constantly upgrading your gear for quite a while. Yeah, Arcane Lore. Are there any topics in the university series that go over common walls new players might hit while playing? Not really, but I do have a video of like what to do when you first get to maps, which is a wall a lot of people hit. I eventually want to go hardcore SSF. Should I try SSF hardcore first? I feel like Harvest being my second league, I shouldn't go hardcore SSF. Well, yeah, like going just softcore solo self-fun could be like a good learning experience. Probably not Fenskinator. How do you decide on what links you will need during the leveling process? Is your decision based on the endgame goal theorycraft? No, that depends. So, for example, on some builds, depending on your weapon, things like added lightning and added cold could be stronger during the leveling process. Whereas later, when you have better weapons with more flat on it, or if you're a spell slinger, then like things like hypothermia controlled destruction could be better. TG, thank you for the 44 months. Will you be slamming this league? Most likely not. Wait, why, Cyber? Trans rights. What? Are you tired of me asking questions? Yeah. No, we just started. What's the best way to learn bossing in this game? Practice on softcore. How viable is the Chaos Slinger to kill Uber Elder in Series 8? Very, very not viable. People already dip out of it at Awakener. What is a good time to finish Axe for a new hardcore player? Just keep beating your own time. Don't worry too much about what other people are doing. Like if you compare yourself to others, you can like end up feeling like a bit bad and feeling, wow, like, oh, other people are doing it in 3 hours. I take 9. But if you just keep improving, and then once you are in a range of like, hey, you know, I'm only 1 hour slower than Zizaran, then you start like trying to beat others. Will you do a podcast for the new league? I don't know yet. I'm very, very little time wise. Are you excited for the Alienware laptop? It's great that they're doing stuff like that. But it's hard to decide between the 100 race and the boss kill. I usually go for boss kills though, so we'll see. Just depending on how hard the bosses is. Is it still important with the new Atlas to complete all maps in a certain tier before moving to the next tier? No. You can go higher. You don't need to like complete all tiers. What is the name of your video and what to do when you first hit maps? Because that's where I seem to get slow. Does anyone remember what it's called or have a link to it? I'm a pretty experienced player, but I still have trouble with taking too much time to loot and making my filter strict too late. What are good indicators that I should upgrade my strictness? Whenever your inventory is full, very often. Whenever there's like a lot, when you notice there's a lot of rares that you're just leaving on the ground, or it's getting hard to see. Yeah, the new Vulcan render is good. Hey, Vero. I want to start with Vortex Cold Snap. I would wait until patch notes for any build-related questions. Oh yeah, maps, that's it. What to do once you reach endgame. Yeah, sure, how are you doing? Which would be the best strat to fast Atlas progression when speedrunning Awakener 8? Like, if you watch the tips and tricks video, I talk a lot about progressing quickly using, like, Zana dailies and the 3-to-1 strategy to, like, expand your Atlas fast. What do you recommend doing if you can't get res capped after Act 10 Kitava? Blood Aqueduct. But You can like that's like not really an excuse though. You should like prepare before Kitava. Like what you should do is make sure you are rest capped for when you kill Kitava and then kill it. You're not gonna be like it's not like you don't have all the information you need. You're not gonna go like, oh no, I've killed Kitava. Pikachu face! I'm not rest capped? I had no idea how much rest I was losing. You know exactly the amount. So like farm Blood Aqueduct more while rest capped. How do you order your Chaos Recipe stashes? When I do Chaos Recipe, and I rarely do, I usually have like one quad tab for helmets, one for gloves, one for boots, one for weapons. Well, basically one for everything separately except for jewelry. Jewelry shares one tab. Investment per damage. Well, I mean, I think like melee has a better investment per damage at the end game. Oh my god, you do not do that ever? No one does? Yeah, you can see on my stream that I do that. I did that in... Was it? It wasn't this league, right? Whatever league had Legion. Yeah, Metamorph, I did that. Have you ever tried Pestilence Strike? I have not. Is Magic Find worth it? Not so much solo. Usually in a group of 6, it's really good. Any tips for survival for melee ranger in hardcore? Don't do it as a first character. Generally. Starting as like Toxic Rain or melee ranger? That sounds horrible. You're fucked. Decoy Totem, I guess. Hope for a Val Molten Shell early. That sounds horrible. Yes, Space Prism. Do you think starting Double Strike will be good? No idea. Patch notes are not yet. What's the new stash tab type you have up right now? This is a fragment tab. Raider and Prey? I mean, as a first character in hardcore, that sounds genuinely horrible. Are there any good strategies on maxing block chance? Glancing Blow, which is going to be on the skill tree now. It like doubles your block, but you still take half damage. It'll be like here somewhere. We're not 100% sure where. I think it was here they showed. Well, if it's not on your first character, then like once you have like life cure and everything, pretty safe. Bows are really, really fast, but again, like bow and wander characters are usually not like first character. You do need more gear on them, and you rely a lot on like searching eyes and just good jewels. Will you do a video on patch notes when we get them? Yes. Can you tell me a super strong expensive build? No. Patch notes aren't out yet. Well, sure. Right now, Herald build. On a soft skill level, what's something you think can PoE teach people for life? Wait, what do you mean? I'm not sure I understand the question. Hey, Faffy, what's up? So let's listen to some background music. Can you go a little in-depth on mechanical and gear differences between poison and bleed? Well, like, they're both damage over time. The biggest difference is, like, poison... Does poison still stack infinitely? Pretty sure it does. Whereas bleed doesn't. That's, like, something they changed quite a lot. I'm pretty sure poison still stacks infinitely. And poison is chaos damage. Not all chaos damage poisons, but all poison is chaos damage, and then bleed is physical. Let's see. Path of Exile OST. Actually, let's listen to the Ori. That's nice. Is it better to favorite as few or as many maps as possible? I usually favorite as many as possible, but only one per tier. So like I would have an 11, a 13, a 14, a 15, a 16, a 12. But I wouldn't have like 3 different 16s. 50 poison stacks, that's it. Impale, EQ, synergize well. I feel like Impale is usually better with fast attacks. So it's all about like... Yeah, I'm generally more a fan for fast attacks. Impale is just generally very strong right now. How long have we been live? 30 minutes. People keep talking about the Dev Manifesto. What is it and what will it tell us? So the Dev Manifesto is a little bit that they explain a little bit about like the behind the scenes stuff. Like they'll talk about why they made some decisions and talk about the changes that are coming in the patch notes without being specific. So they can like, they're not always like specific with numbers and stuff. But yeah, they'll talk a little bit about the thought processes. Yeah, the guild is sub only at the moment. There's no limit of poison stacks a target can have. Alright. You can have 50. I can't remember. They change it too often. What in the heck does that reach of the council do? So it forces you with greater volley. And then the arrow that starts at the left will always pierce. The one after that will always fork. The one after that will always chain. And the one after that will return to you. And hit stuff on the way back like Spectral Throw. Is there any reason to not complete a map? Yes. Karavarosku has a guide and like goes over that quite a lot. Like for example, you can make it so that your only tier 10 maps would be Volcano and Residence, and then you'll be cycling between those two. And the reason to do that, and probably a lot of people are like, well, sis, why wouldn't you just use the favorite system? Well, you can do this before even getting to the favorite system. So you can do it very, very early on, and then farm a 6th link within like 2 hours of getting to maps or 4 hours. I'm ultra impressed that I actually remember that order. I saw a picture of it on Twitter. Does Creator Volley work on Hogue? I don't know. That is a cursed emote combo. Best way to farm a 6th thing. There's quite a lot. So one of my favorite ways to farm a 6th thing on League Start is to just pop in sacrifice fragments. This will open a Val side area. And to the best of my knowledge, these like open ones through these can't have reflect. And then when you kill any monster in here, there's the chance for items to be corrupted, which means that can drop a 6th thing. And then also, the chest at the end has a what do you call it? Big chance to drop a 6th thing. Now, obviously, because of the way it's corrupting, it's also dropping a lot of 6 sockets, which will be great for actually trying to 6th thing. You know, if you find a unique or something like that. And then if you're like, well, Zizaran, this was a nice chest with like 80 life dual res, but it's got 5 red and 1 green. I really need blue sockets. And a lot of people, for some reason, don't know that you can just like, wow, Zizaran, 4 blue, 2 red. That's exactly what I needed. But how do you change the colors on a corrupted item? And it's just everything with like links, sockets, and colors works on corrupted items still. They just need to use Vol Orbs as well. That means that a strategy, for example, on very, very cheap unique armors have been for a lot of people to literally like sometimes they'll 6-socket them first to save like 350 Vol Orbs from the 6-socket recipe, but then saving up 1,500 Vol Orbs and 1,500 fusings, because fusings can be very cheap in a lot of leagues, and the same with Vol Orbs, and then you can get like a guaranteed +1 chest or a guaranteed +1 max risk or +2 to skill gems, right? Which, if you were doing that on a Shavs or something where like the base test costs a lot, then you usually want to 6th thing it first. Where do you get those at least X color recipes? In Delve. Do you think Bleed Glad is a good starter? So for any build specific questions, no idea until we see the patch notes. I'll be going for at least first 100 and maybe the bosses as well. But you get so many alterations early on for crafting, especially pick up all like jewelry, rings, 1x3 items, and vendor them while identified. Is Herald gonna be nuke? I don't work for GGD. Can you drop every unique that has a divination card, like Lionized Remorse? What do you mean? Oh, no. Not every unique that has a divination card can be dropped from the game. How do you prioritize using currency early on a new SSF link? I avoided like the plague. I try to use as little currency as possible, and that's why you want a really, really strong build. If you saw the Everything Explained last night, the Spell Singer, I had like, when I was in Act 9, I had 3 white items with crafted like Fire Rest, Cold Rest. How do you upgrade Breachstones or get upgraded Breachstones? They do drop from the game in general, particularly Delirium drop them a lot. But you can upgrade them yourself from a normal Breachstone at Betrayal. It's It That Fled at level 3. You don't want to use the level 2 or 1 ones. But yeah, level 3 at Research upgrades them to Pure. Can you offer me one of the new League packs? I cannot. Well, I can, but I won't. Is there a specific level or act you stop and craft and upgrade while leveling? It depends. It's more about like how my character feels and like the survival. Does movement speed have an effect on flicker DPS? No. Is low delve better than tier 16 mapping? No, definitely not. Delve is very profitable though. The walls and stuff can give you a lot of really, really good chests. Velina, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. How are you doing? Tips to get from level 80 to 100 quick. Pre-rolling maps is pretty important. Now, it is important to remember. That whenever you're like trying to level for level 100, it matters a lot what the highest level you've ever had before is. Like, I've had people coming to me being like, "Hey, Zizaran, I currently have a level 85 character. What are some tips for pushing to level 100?" And like that might already be something like, oh, they've played quite a lot for them this league, and they're level 85 or they're level 90 right now. But remember that like level 98 is halfway to 100. Level 95 is like a third or a fourth of the way there. So if you already only have a level 90 or 93 character, getting to 93 is like 10, 11, or 12 hours of grinding, depending on when. At a league start, like level 93 is like 18 or 20 hours. We talked about the Alienware thing? No, not really. Not much. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, Path of Exile is doing a race for some new bosses, and there's an Alienware laptop. How many hours do you play daily the first week, and how do you pause? And how do you schedule your pauses? So I normally try to do between 20 and 30 hours, and then sleep for 4 or 6. The past 2 leagues, I have been a bit more down, had like been in a lot of pain and stuff like that, like my leg. So I've been trying to sleep more. I've been sleeping like 9 hours every day. One sec. Sorry. That's a lot of gaming. But yeah, this league, I'm feeling pretty pumped. I want to go back to like sleeping at least like 4 or 6 hours. And yeah, I'm pretty like hyped. And as for how I like schedule my breaks, just to be like healthier, I try to do a break every hour. There's a couple of reasons for that. Obviously, when you do this as a living and you're sitting like this, my standing desk doesn't currently work. By that I mean my computer setup is so scuffed that the cables are too short, so I can't actually raise my standing desk. But normally I would like alternate a lot between a standing desk, standing and sitting, which is it's great to like alternate and being able to move. But yeah, I try to take a break every hour, sometimes just for a bathroom break, and other times just to stretch. What's wrong with your bro? What's wrong with your leg, bro? I just sat too much while not moving. Did he give you anything for your legs? Yeah, so they tried giving me amitriptyline 2 years ago, which is like a nerve painkiller, also used to treat depression. And even though it's a different dose they used than for treating depression, I just felt dead inside, and they were like, yeah, that can happen. I was like, sweet, yeah, I'm just not taking painkillers. Yeah, I have sciatica. Sounds like a good thing to have a desk. Yeah. But, and then also, it's good monetarily as well, because I can play an ad when I go AFK, and that ends up in like 5% of my content being ads, which is decent ad revenue and hopefully not too intrusive. It sucks ass, it does. Little TG. So almost all nerve pills are antidepressants? Yeah, but I mean, I'm fine. I don't mind pain. You tried physical therapy? Yes. Is your back attachment a previous core pack? Yes, you cannot get it anymore. So we're standing too much not long ago? No, I've never been standing too much. Didn't feel that inside until taking pills? Yeah. To talk about how to best approach the Atlas regarding watchstones. I actually have just done like an educational video on that. It's on YouTube already. It's like the map tips and tricks video. You're going to do some starters? At least 4. I'm worried about playing a meta build on League Start because I'll have to buy items that'll be in high demand. Any advice? A lot of the meta builds are meta, especially on League Start, because you don't need to buy anything. Like for example, right, Spellslinger, and a lot of... Actually, a really, really good indication of what's a good League Starter, even on Trade League, will be what are people running on SSF. Because then you won't really need to buy anything. Like, sure, you can, and if it's meta, that might be really expensive, but most of those builds are designed to work with what you find and being easily farmable. Like, you'll very, very rarely see streamers or racers go for builds like, oh, I really need those like 2% unique drop things. Is your Atlas strategy guide specific for SSF hardcore? Because softcore trying to get completion of dark shades on whites and yellow is not worth it. You don't need the +1 drops nearly as much. I mean, the +1 drops is always a nice thing and not exactly hard to get. Do you think you think this will be a good league start for group self-found? Yeah. Yeah, very for group self-found. Have you ever done an Ice Shot Ranger Jedi build and made a how-to? I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. Maybe I did. Did I? I don't know. I remember playing one. I don't know if I made a video. We'll try to play this league SSF. Could you give me any advice? Picking up like the majority, like especially like common uniques is extremely worth saving because while something is extremely common, it might be very, very hard to get it later. One quick example is Eye of Tayula, right? If you're playing trailing and you find an Eye of Tayula, that's 1 chaos and you're not going to care about it. However, if you're playing SSF and you're doing like a Marauder Earthquake build and you find an Eye of Tayula, it can be very, very tempting to vendor all uniques for alchemy shards. However, what if like 2 months later you want to do a low life build and you really need an Eye of Tayula and you just never found a second one? Like there's a lot of uniques, while common, you might just never find them that late. What's the most fun build you played across your countless hours of PoE? Winter Orb. Winter Orb. What build is not meta do you think should be for league start? No idea. Passionate aren't out yet. Do you think level 92 monsters in Harvest will be a problem? Yeah, so currently the highest level monster we have in the game is level 86. And now a lot of people are going, what do you mean? 83 is the highest. So I'll show you and explain real quick because there's going to be a lot of people that don't know this. So with these watchstones, it's +1 to the monster level of area and you can stack 3 of them because they all need to be different. That means that we can do 86 maps and the minimum item level that drops in that map will be level 86. Rares and uniques will drop 88. They're already insanely dangerous. On hardcore, they're very, very hard to do. A lot of people do them only with like stupidly tanky builds, and it can be pretty popular to use Headhunter to do those. Level 92, especially with something like Harvest, where it doesn't seem like Headhunter is really going to help you here. I could see level 92 monsters. A, I'm not sure why we would do them, but B, it sounds crazy rippy. I can get to maps just fine, but as soon as I get there, it's really, really painful and I struggle with gear. So tomorrow at 10 p.m. while waiting for the patch mods, I'm going to continue the Everything Explained and do like the starter maps and address exactly that problem. Yeah, Zoom. Yeah, Deskra. Well, at least level 100. I'm not sure what I'm going for. We'll see. I usually go for whatever's the most popular. The laptop thing is pretty exciting, though. Based on the type of monster mechanic Harvest is, what build based on the current need do you see performing well on it? It looks like something where tanky builds are going to be better. Level 91 monsters, or 92 even, is confirmed, yeah. Is there any reason to play Scion? A lot, yeah. Scion has a lot of strong things. There's been a lot of strong builds for Scion. Like, it's definitely still on the weaker end of where Scion has been in the history of Path of Exile. There was one league where I felt like everyone I knew was playing Scion all the time. Ruthless Coil? Yeah. It'll be very expensive, I think. I mean, it was even this thing. Can't remember a single time Ascendant was balanced. I would argue it's not too unbalanced right now because it is used quite a lot, to be honest. It's just not like, it's still on like the lower end, but there are quite a lot of good combos. And that like, from Heralds as well, like, it's not too bad. Like, it's, I wouldn't say it's dog shit right now. I like when I see tweets saying you're getting on in an hour, but you tweeted an hour ago. Instance is... Hi. It's just a lot of damage thing. When you get like high end on the high roll and low on the low roll, sort of. It's the best way I can explain it. Any easy way to get a +1 bow? Yeah, just alteration. +1's very easy. Just need 2000 X. Well, I mean, it is good for other builds right now too, though. It's definitely on the weaker end. From like 0 being dog shit and 100% being everyone's Scion, I'd say it's like 30% right now. Resins of Dread. That's plus bow gems, not plus gems. Robin, thank you for the 38-month resub, dude. Oh, sorry, Nevarb, are you still here? I just saw your sub question. Can you explain why I'm stupid and Divine Flesh doesn't work with Chaos Inoculation? Because there's a line on Divine Flesh saying all damage bypasses your energy shield. All my League starter builds are usually aimed for being able to play on SSF Hardcore, and I will say in the guide very, very specifically if it's if there's like uniques that you need. On the forums? I don't know. I don't know. You have any idea if people and racers in general being interested in a discrete ladder tracker combined with a timer? We already have that on PoE Racing. PoE Racing has a timer saying how long someone has played total and how long they've been logged in for this session. You think 16 items will get cheaper with the new 16 craft? Oh yeah, actually, I haven't looked over. Somebody's like, where was the new like crafts posted by Path of Exile? Was it on Twitter? Reddit. Oh no, here. Crafting options. Right, let me look over this before I like answer more questions. And if you're not sure what we're doing right now, at the moment, well, I'm going to read this now, so don't post a question right now. But at the moment, I'm just doing a Q&A for Path of Exile. So if you have any like questions to do with like the upcoming league, Path of Exile, obviously like not build specific shit, but yeah, questions in general, I'm trying to answer them, especially questions that I haven't seen before. Right, there are 200 new ones being introduced, which means there's still plenty left to reveal. Change a unique item into Piranda's coins. I really hope it's not a variable. I hope that it's static, so a Comb's Heart will always be like 6,100. Because this would be really fucking cool to, for the first time ever, determine exact rarity. So back in the day, GDD used to publicly talk about tier 1 uniques. Well, actually, they do it the opposite of the community. The community would say a Comb's Heart is a tier 1 unique. In GDD size, a Comb's Heart is a tier 5 or 6 unique. It's the highest tier. They do it like the opposite. However, they used to talk about this. And like, we have a fairly good idea just from like, you know, not prices, but, you know, drop rates and playing for thousands of hours. But, you know, Comb's Heart, tier 1, Shavs, tier 1, Headhunter, tier 0. But we don't actually know, and it does change. Change a sacrifice or mortal fragment into another random fragment of that type. Change a pale core key. See, I've seen all of those, right? Remove a critical modifier from an item. Wow, I love these targeted annuls. They're insane. Augment an item with a new life modifier. Augment an item with a new... When it says augment, does this literally mean it has to be blue? Add an implicit modifier to a cluster jewel. Can I corrupt it? It's probably just a slam. Yeah, I'm wondering if it means the orb augment or the word augment. And like, I would think it's the word augment, so it's a targeted exalt. Most people think it's a slam? Yeah. It's GGG. We have no fucking idea. We are all guessing here. No, they've used the augmented word in context of a rare item and other crafts. What GGG has done in the past has nothing to do with the future. 1 second, I will explain. Is this a good example? Yeah, what is the radius of nearby in Path of Exile? This is the best answer. Closer than over there, but further than right here. So nearby in Path of Exile... Nothing. There's no common denominator there. It could be this far. It could be this far. It could be 2 screens away. There is no consistency here. There is no consistency. So as much as I agree, I think it's Slam. And even though they referred to that in the past as Slam, this could fully be just blue items. We really don't know. Like this, using this craft could just swallow up your item. We don't know. According to PoE, I'm nearby Zizaran. At least it's consistently inconsistent. True. Sacrifice a map and add 1 free infused domination craft. What? So you just get free domination from sacrificing a tier 1 map? Isn't this them confirming that domination and rampage is on the map device on Zana? Right? That has to be what it means. Reforges the links between sockets on an item. It's much more likely to create a larger number of linked sockets. Wonder how common that's gonna be. Upgrades a normal item to random rarity. It's much more likely to be upgraded to higher rarity. It's not free 6ing. It just is much more likely. I don't think it'll be guaranteed. Upgrades normal item rarity to random, so that's a chancing. Reforges a rare item with a new random modifier. It's much more likely to have a higher average modifier level. Set an item's implicit modifier to a random synthesized item. The item can't be influenced or synthesized. Yep. What does that mean? Can somebody link me an explosion mace in-game? Anyone have one? Explain? I will. Can somebody link me one? There must be somebody that has one, even from Synthesis. I have one from Synthesis, but I wouldn't know how to find it. Like there is only that mod? I mean, that's gonna be the main use of it. It's probably still gonna be rare. That is definitely going to be the main use of it. Like, that's what I'm gonna be using it on, all League. Like, sure, other things too, but depending on rarity. Like, assume that this is something you get as an individual. I mean, it might be more common than that, but say you get it once a league, right? And it could be a 50-60x craft. Onslaught boots are nice too. Onslaught boots are very, very nice. But anyway, so what that means is that you get a synthesis implicit. Synthesis was a very, very powerful crafting league with a lot of insane things like permanent onslaught on boots, explodey, perfect, this one. Enemies you explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. Now, I can't remember if they changed it at all, but at least in Synthesis, this worked with traps, minions, pretty much anything for some reason counted as you killing them. Maybe not minions, but it worked on like traps and shit. And totems. Now I know the chest doesn't, but it was at least completely broken. Because the test doesn't count it like that. But it was like completely broken. And yeah, this is like super, super strong. Incredibly broken. It's way better than the test unless they equal them. No, not that one. That one's okay. That one's balanced. That one's not balanced. And it's fizz, so it's like you can convert it and scale it. Why is Flame Dash the main movement skill and not Smoke Mine or something else? Depends on the player. Shield Charge is used a lot more. Smoke Mine's used a lot. All of those are used a lot. Do you think that craft adds synthesis influence? There's no synthesis influence. It's not an influence. It's just an implicit. But there's a ton of really powerful synthesis implicits. On the flip side, the fire explosion on maces suck. No AoE range. Yep. The fist explosion's insane. Any tips for scaling ED container agent damage into red maps on League Start? Arfin Live is the guy I know and trust that like played ED the most recently where cluster jewels were out. I didn't play it much since the release of cluster jewels, so Arfin Live, I would ask him. Are implicits lost when scouring? Nope. How do two-handed axe players get tanky since they don't have block or evasion? Endurance charges, Combs Heart, 8,000 life. Implicit an item, then influence it. It specifically says you can't do that. Yeah, leech, regen. Crit multi 35 on belts. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. Now, we do have to remember, this could be really rare. Could be really rare. Was there more? No, there was no more. Does it make the item synthesized? Blocks influence? Yeah. Yeah, it does specifically say on the graph you can't influence it or make it influence. Jewels at the bottom of the page. Wait, what? Oh. You notice that one of these options allow you to roll an implicit mod on a jewel. Here are some examples. Wait, can I get corrupting blood on a rollable jewel? Are they removing corrupting blood? They're removing corrupting blood, aren't they? They're totally removing corrupting blood. There's no way corrupting blood's staying in the game. And same with reduced reserved. 100% gone. F? They're dead. You can do it on uniques. What's corrupting blood? One of the most dangerous things that a monster can have. It like makes stacks of bleeding damage and it'll kill you very quickly. You can get immunity to that on a jewel or with a staunching flask. No, these are synth implicits. They are not. You are wrong. It is... Which one is it? Are they? These are just normal jewel implicits, aren't they? Not the synth ones. Maybe they are synth. Maybe I'm wrong. The question is if you can use the synth implicits on uniques since it says item. Yeah, I think you can use it on uniques. Did you see Bex's tweet about something getting nerfed? I think I'm the rank 1 reply to it. Let's go like. Do you mean this one? Is this the one you mean? With the only takes one paragraph? Because that was a reply to me, so I have obviously seen it. No, the reply to Havoc. Ooh. Oh, I think I have seen that. Oh, yes. You're right. At least one of those will be nerfed. So Bone Offering, Recover Life, yes. When you block, Glancing Blows, and Val Molten Shell. At least one of those have been nerfed. So not... Could be more. Yeah, we know Spellslinger's getting... Well, no. She hasn't said Spellslinger's getting nerfed. It could be getting buffed. Yeah, it's probably getting nerfed. Glancing Blow is not getting nerfed. Because they've already posted that. They could still, but... So, Glancing Blow is most likely not the one. That's most likely staying. So what else are they? The Recover Life ES on block. That's way too strong. That could be maybe removed. But it's also not used as much. My guess is Bone Offering. I don't think they're going to nerf Val Molten Shell. I think Val Molten Shell is fine. And I think they like the way players use it. And I think it finally makes armor useful. I think Val Molten Shell would be the dumbest thing to nerf here. I think that seems completely balanced, honestly. Like, it's very strong. But it's like the only thing making armor useful right now. Yeah, my guess is Recover Life. Life in ES Sunblock. No, I mean Bone Offering, sorry. I think... Fuck, I don't know. I'm so like 50-50 between the two. Do you think you'll be able to use the synth implicit craft more than once on an item? It already says in the craft that you cannot do that. You specifically cannot do that. Harvest looks wilder than synthesis. What build are you going to play? Don't have patch notes yet. Hi, Ziz. Why I see your video? You AN live. Lol, nice. I don't understand the question. If you're asking why you see my video, it's probably because you're on YouTube. Do you think Herald stacking is fair? No. Why would they remove corrupting blood implicit? I just wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I didn't like Valorant. How many people ask you what build you're going to play every minute? A lot. Way too many. Is Spellslinger good with ED Contagion? It's apparently really fast. I don't like it. It's like pretty bad way of scaling the damage, but if you just get enough damage, then speed is key. I just haven't tried it. I need to see it. Apparently Steel wasn't a fan. I haven't seen it. Maybe if Bone Uppering didn't recover 800 life. Did you see the stuff Bex posted about patch notes in the Guild War 2 subreddit? I did. What SAM skills do you hope for to start with? None. Most likely not going to start with a SAM skill. But depends on patch notes. It's just going to be hard to start with melee compared to Spellslinger. Tai did a speedrun on it. Yeah, I need to watch it. Thank you for the 20 months Federal Demon. Oh shit, holy shit. Antrak, thank you for the $40 donations. 30 monthly, top high, not anymore. And if I may ask you a question about the Q&A, do you think 2 semi-new players, played 2 leagues so far, could have any fun being one Orba and the other being MF build, or would that be complete BS or pointless? It is definitely better the more people you have, because every player provides 50% quantity. And sure, that's less than everyone farming individually. It still makes it way, way more worth to use like Scarabs and Sextants. And thank you so much for the $40 donation. Why GDD don't release patch notes earlier so streamers can make starter builds faster? So they're not like sitting there holding on them going like, we're going to release them 48 hours before the patch. That's the optimal time to release them. They haven't finished them yet. They have such a small time between leagues that the game isn't finished. We're basically playing beta for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the league. So they haven't written the patch notes yet. They don't have time. Can't remember, Curtin. How important is armor evasion ES stats on item compared to their mods? Does evasion mean you have a chance to evade any damage? No, it's evasion is from hits, not spells. Can't believe how patient you are. Thank you. The Jug Herald of Agni build still viable. Still haven't seen patch notes. How would you feel about Herald stacking build staying as the strongest build in the game? I would not like it to stay in the game. I don't like it. Do you ever worry about Chaos Recipe early league? Only if Legion is on the skill, is on the Zana modifiers, and that I really, really want to farm. Yeah, if I really want to farm Legion for like Timeless Jewels, that's the only time I do Chaos Recipe. Well, actually, that's not true. When Beyond is on, sometimes I'll do Chaos Recipe for Beyond later. So if Beyond is on, I hope Beyond isn't on, but if it is, yeah. I will probably do Chaos Recipe. Do you think Sabako and Doriani are getting removed? No, I think they'll stay on Timeless Jewels. Yeah, Vulcan is a big difference to FPS. Yes, hardcore SSF this league. This is going to be the first league that I'm going to try extra hard to stay SSF the entire league. Normally I end up switching over after 2 or 4 weeks to trade league. Can you explain exactly what adding Beyond to your maps does? Sure. So Beyond is a old league mechanic that every time you kill a monster, it'll drop a red orb. Once there's 5 red orbs in close proximity, they'll spawn a rare and like 2 or 3 blues. And these can also drop items. They give you experience. So it's just more density for your map. Now, the more different ways of Beyond you can put on your map, the more density and like more monsters will be spawning, and also Beyond bosses, which are like unique bosses. So for example, say you have Beyond rolled on the map and on the map device and on a sexton, it's going to be an insane experience. Like, A quick example of Beyond. I think it's up on YouTube, so I can show you real quick. Quick example on like a fully juiced map with triple Beyond. So for example, you can see there's like, well, you actually can't see right now, but here's like a quick demonstration of like the loot from like the Nemesis Sextant and then triple Beyond and full Scarabs. You'll see the loot when we come out of the incursion now. Obviously not picking anything up now because it's just a demonstration. And you see how much like density and monsters are spawning, so it'll actually be like a bit laggy. You might need a really good computer. This PC isn't even streaming, so this is like just the game. But you see that there's a shit ton more monsters. And I explain how to do this in the video too. Didn't they remove triple? No. I put it back in. But it's obviously risky. Harvest boss is a priority? Probably. If 2GD is going to put a new oil, one golden oil, be expensive as fuck? Maybe. What do you want to see in the patch notes? Vulcan has been perfected and we are guaranteeing a minimum FPS of 100 for Path of Exile. Everything's explained in the video. Thanks, take care. Appreciate it. Are you surprised they're keeping cluster jewels? No, not surprised. I mean, I wish they didn't. My favorite ideology or like favorite idea of how they should treat power creep in Path of Exile currently is to very rarely add things to the core game, and that each league. So for example, right, like Blight and Blight Synthesis and what do you call it? Blight Synthesis and Cluster Jewels. Blight, wow, we have these really cool, powerful anointments. Well, you don't have them next league. Cluster Jewels, wow, they're so strong and awesome. Well, next league you have something else that's like maybe equally strong, but you don't have Cluster Jewels anymore. Like, it's too much cluster or too much power creep. Today, Larian added new content to DOS. Yep. Where are clusters going to drop? Delirium. We do it next week while they start. So I'm not doing it this week, and hopefully we'll be doing it next week. Depends on the 100 race. I don't know, Megalomaniac. Things is that I was alone about the power creep, love your honesty. The thing is, right, it's sort of in two ways, because obviously power creep and getting stronger is fun. It's fun if the build you're playing this league was stronger than anything you did last league. But the thing is, at some point it gets very easily out of hand, and they do need to like tune it back and rein it back in at some point. And if that's too extreme, then it ends up feeling really bad. Remember when they just like buffed all the life on everything? Your build felt kind of shit. Essence mob, your build felt kind of shit. So I think it's very hard to balance, and that's why I wish they were a little bit more careful about what like crazy mechanics they add to the core game. No, not very. Don't stop. They'll fix it in PoE 2. Do you think it's an issue? Well, yeah, I mean, I think PoE 2 is the perfect time to fix it. Now, do remember that a lot of people seem to be under the impression that Path of Exile 2 is a new game, or there's like some. It's not. It's exactly the same as calling the next league PoE 2. It's just like a larger expansion. There's no like new client or anything like that. It is just an expansion similar to when we got the Atlas, when we got Uber Elder. It's just a large expansion. And a different storyline for leveling up, so you have two to pick between. It's essentially just 4.0. Yeah. It's the same as 2.0, 3.0. Hi, Don. I think they're adding new mobs so that they can be OP, so it forces you to upgrade your character further. Yeah, I mean, like, I think like 4.0 is a great time and way to balance the game a little bit more and rein in the power creep. And I feel like they're already working on reducing the loot explosions. Like right now, the fact that an item filter is as mandatory as it is right now is terrible design. Like, item filter in itself isn't a bad idea, because you're as the game progresses, you're going to want and care about different things or different things per character. That's fine. But the game is unplayable right now. Literally. Like, I literally, like, we can go do a map right now. And even without juicing it a lot, it is, like, not something I would want to sift through. So, let's just throw Alex and some random stuff on a map. And we'll turn off our filter. Which used to be a completely fine way to play the game, right? Like, I played for, like, what, 3,000-4,000 hours without an item filter. So it is like... It's completely mandatory. Which I think is pretty bad design. And obviously that is something they are aware of and working on. And that's why I'm guessing Harvest is not going to be a loot explosion league. Why am I lagging so much? Definitely need to restart my router. Hey, look at this. Hey, this is insane. I haven't even, like... Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's taxing on the servers. But imagine if loot filters didn't exist. Like, the majority of this stuff is, like, completely pointless. And can very, very easily be fixed, which is what they're also, like, trying to do and seemingly, like, have a goal for PoE 2 or the 4.0 expansion. Which I think is a step in a very right direction. Oh, poggers. I played my first 4 leagues without a filter, just installed one midway through Delirium. Oh, wow. Put my anime weapon build. Doesn't need as many weapons as he used to. Remember that there are players playing like this that don't have a filter. Hey, gold rim. Cool. Good stuff. So that is like one of the things I'm the most happy about that they are addressing. Planning to pick this. So like build. I'm skipping build questions. It doesn't matter. When will the VD video be online? What VD video? Do you mean the everything explained? ASAP. If you take out loot explosions and offer crafts as a currency, they need to make wiki level info to the game, like what mods can be on items and what bases are available. Having to rely on PoEDB is so badly... Yeah, I agree. Way more information needs to be in game. 20% done? 20% fully juiced, 10% not? How often they add an expansion? So like there's a new league every 3 months. The lines between it being an expansion and a league is just like... Sometimes it's a bigger league, basically. Really that low? Yeah. Do you see any reason why currency items are not auto pickup when walkover? They don't like automating the game. I also don't like automating the game. I'm expecting at least 50% this. I think you'll be disappointed. Will this be uploaded to YouTube? Yeah, we could upload the Q&A session to YouTube. I mean, this is going to be, depending on the amount of questions and stuff, somewhere between 2 to 4 hours. The manifesto is tonight, right? I miss synthesis too. But it's still scary to put more power creep in the game. I might log back on for the manifesto. When is it? Do we know? Should be in 8 to 10 hours. Yeah, I think I'll log on for that. Places have been posting between 10 and 2, more or less. Maybe I'll log on at around midnight. Or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Nah, fuck, I won't have time tomorrow. What do you think of 4 months temp leagues? They'll lose too much money. They're not going to do it. Nothing. Joke's just tanky. A lot of Molten Strike builds are used on different characters. Not specifically on jug. I'm gonna go bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. BRB. Crazy idea. What about a game mechanic that stack drops and every like 5 drops of an item it generates a favorite drop kind? I mean, I think they could just like remove all drops by 90%. Just hard cut it. But don't they make it that we'll be picking up an item in 10 to 15? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. Doesn't really matter what we talk about there. Like, they're not gonna listen to us there and watch the stream. Well, sometimes they do, but still. I'm sure they've already thought of like how to fix it. Federal Demon thing for the 20 months and RDM Joker thing for the 39 months. Does Curse on Hit work with Arc Mines? Yeah. I've changed the command. Question: with the added flat fist and 200 weapon buffs, do you think Impale could be better than just Elemental? Yeah, I could see Fist being really good, especially maybe even combining using an actual weapon, like actually having Flat Fizz on your weapon. Oh, nice for you. That's insane. Can they just remove all blue and white items without it really causing an issue? No, you still need base types. Then again, maybe you're right. Maybe base types being less common is a good thing. I remember back in Tempest where it would be like 20 to 30 chaos on hardcore to buy an item level 83 Volax. I think that was kind of cool because the more items that are exciting to drop is better in my opinion. Like there are obviously pros and cons to that. A lot of people just want a lot of availability, right? So they want to be able to, okay, well now I've crafted something okay on this. Now I'm gonna start continuing crafting it on other. And they want like a crafting tab of like, wow, look at all the like item level 86 bone elements I have. Whereas maybe and I am more on this side where, wow, oh my god, I dropped an 86 bone helmet. Holy shit, this is like 7x. This is so exciting and cool. I am definitely on the with the item drops and base types even on the less is more. Like more individual items having like a value and rarity. I think that's something that Diablo 2 had a lot more than Path of Exile, where you would see there would be a lot more like target farming, like, you know, certain bosses had a higher chance to drop certain things. I'm more in favor of that. Did you know Diablo 2 had an Uber Diablo boss? I did. Just a bit confused about low life, Chevron, and chaos inoculation. What are the pros and cons? The TLDR, low life is more damage, usually more expensive, and CI is tankier. A lot of the time. You can still get low life tankier, but usually have more money. It's called grinding gear games, not targeted gear games. Only thing they have early levels, but then you just remove it all when you enter maps or something. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like loot bloat is as much of a problem while mapping, because there's no quantity bonus, there's no scarabs and sextants. You're gonna be up for the manifesto? I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna be streaming for another hour or two today now, and then I might stream again later. Chill? Yeah, it's pretty decent, but not for an entire ring slot. Well, maces is the same as axes, Artemisius. There's no difference. For like fist weapons. What do you think about using previous league mechanics on a rotation? Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, I want more of a weather system that's been explained on Reddit a few times. Probably Tiffany, yeah. What Zonimos do you want to see for the crafting league? Legion, Metamorph, Abyss, Nemesis, Domination. Usually get a lot more power on a ring than just chill. How many characters do you tend to build and play each league? Not that many. It varies a little bit if I push for level 100 on 1 or 2 characters. Somewhere between 10 to 18. And then I usually have between 3 and 8 deaths per league. People are going to get Headhunter regardless. Just Q&A today. Sick wand? Yeah, it's pretty decent. Best way to get a 6-thing on SSF, so like residence maps, really, really good. And then sacrifice fragments like I showed earlier. Like throwing sacrifice fragments when you start getting maps. This is a good way to get early levels. Like, this is like one of my favorite tips to give to new players because it's such a great place to get 6 things. Do you ever play on standard? Nope. Hey, 30, what's up? So every monster in when you put in a sack fragment like this, has the chance to drop a 6 thing. You see here, found items have a 9% to drop corrupted. And then they can go up to 35 or 40% from the monsters, which gives you a very, very likely chance. And then the chest at the end has a massive chance to drop a 6 thing. Plus the Val gems, which you can turn into Valors. And then if you want to do like slightly higher level areas, you could turn in Midnights, especially if you're not interested in farming at Zeri. And the Midnights are going to be 72 or 73. But yeah, residence maps too. So here you see, now still just 8% is pretty random, like what the chance is for the normal monsters to drop 6 things. Here I got a midnight and a noon back, so it's pretty easy. And as you see that you do get a lot of 6 links and 5 links while doing this. And then you just like recolor it. You just recolor it in your crafting bench, which needs you need to do some delve to get the chrome recipe. Hey, Nas, how are you, dude? Prid, thank you for the 5 months. Deathclaw, thank you for the Twitch Prime. It still takes into consideration the stats. So, whenever you get a 6 thing in a Val side area, right? Let's say that it's an energy shield chest base with 170 in. It's actually very likely for that to have a bunch of red and green sockets on it when it corrupts it. That's one of the things that corruption can do when it's 6 things. However, recoloring it is still going to be like easy as normal. I've run over 100 fragments without a 6 thing. Did you check your filter? I usually get one every like 20 to 30. Faster starter vs recharge? I only bother with that on occultist. Only ever. I never rely on recharge. Usually. I've never gotten a portal gem. How do you farm one? They drop randomly from the game. Let's see. Still only 9%. So getting like higher ones with 30 to 40 is pretty rare. Yeah, portal gems drop from anything, fairly rare. But if you farm breach, there are divination cards that are very, very common that will give you a portal. I had a 6 thing earlier when giving an example. And like killing the monsters is worth it. Is there a farmable way to get Val Orbs? Yeah, there's a Val Orb recipe. So 7 Val gems. So like Val Molten Shell, Val Double Strike, etc. Plus a Sacrifice Fragment is 1 Val Orb. I got 3 6 things doing 10? Yeah. Especially whenever you get like high percentage chance drop, then definitely worth killing all the mobs then. The recipe's kind of slow, yes, but useful in SSF. And it's very, very easy to self-sustain. You're still killing things. How long does it take to get level 100? 6 or 7 days played? Depends a little bit if it's SSF or Trade League. Plan on making more how to craft videos. Yeah, there's like 3 on YouTube at the moment, and I'll be making more too. Try one last one. I'm just trying to see if I can get a high percentage. It really is rare with like 20-30%. Crazy rare. Maybe it's just more common in like actual ones from maps. So I've definitely seen like up to like 35 or something. It's the highest I've seen. And delving, should I be going for specific things, so trying to go down as fast as possible? Depends a little bit on like character power as well. Most of the time I will go pretty much straight down. I think I did go sideways here a little bit. Yeah, so as soon as I got to 83, I started going sideways. So you can see that I'm going literally straight down, the exception being like when you start finding the cold, like contains cold items, contains fire items. Those are always worth to do because you can get rings with curse on hand. For Trade League, it's less worth on Trade League, but still worth. I prefer doing this sort of Blood Aqueduct, yeah. Just want more MTX, like challenge rewards. Oh yeah, some of them look pretty cool. How much more XP are you getting from a tier 16 rare compared to a tier 16 magic? That's just about the pack size. Like, they could even have the same pack size, so no difference. Like, a rare map isn't going to give more experience. That's just about the pack size difference on the map is going to be the only difference there. So like this one has 28 pack size, whereas the blue map has 9. But you could get like 18 on a blue map, I think. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not really worried about anything in the patch notes, because there's always going to be something that's fun and playable in Path of Exile. I'm like, I don't really care about, oh no, they nerfed my build that I was going to play. That's why I don't really care too much. Like, I would be happy with, I can play Ice Crash as my starter, depending on nerfs and buffs. I can play a Bleed dual wielding build. I can play Spell Slinger. I could play Brands or even Totems or a bow build. Like Toxic Rain. I will find something that's going to be good for me for racing. It doesn't matter what they do in the patch notes. Yeah, for you, it's really cool. We're gonna find that back attachment. You can. Yes, man. I wanted to like show a 6-link dropping again. It was so fun with the earlier example. I don't know why the servers are so laggy at the end of the league. So my stream's fine. No idea, Kaka. I barely ever play Raider. It's a pretty bad ascendancy. Still only 9%. I think Raider's terrible. I've answered you 3 times, Brad Tag. Yes, it's good, just less good than SSF. Not answering you again. How hype is the Alienware laptop throwback race? Well, I mean, like, events have been getting bigger and bigger, but, it's still pretty exciting. There's an example, like, that could have been 6-linked, right? And as you see, even though it's 160 strength, which is what, like, determines what the colors are on the item, this has 3 green, 2 blue, so it's 5 off color, and that's very, very common. But then if I was a spellcaster, this would already be like, cool, this is a great 6-link. I could totally use that, right? A lot of things could use that, like hypothermia, LMP, whatever. But then if I'm like, oh man, I'm melee and I really need like 5 red and 1 blue. Well, boom, that's great. I'll throw faster attacks in there. So just remember that it just takes Vol Orbs when it is corrupted. In the off chance you get Uber Hillock on your first character, you can't. That doesn't happen. There is no off chance. They've made it like spawn faster than before, but it still can't spawn. Hey, here's what I wanted to give as an example. Found items have a 36% chance to drop corrupted, but it can't spawn on your first character. So like in an area like this, it's particularly nice to get a very, very large area because you're gonna drop a lot of 6 sockets and a good chance for 6 things from the trash mobs themselves, and then every single item from the test is corrupted. Cluster drills, Kaka. How hard is getting face breakers by chancing? Very easy. Less than 1,000 for sure. Probably less than 500 on average. But very, very easy. Not as easy as Quill Rain, but you would drop it before chancing? No, not necessarily. 6%. Yeah, Celis also need is great. I use that very frequently. Very frequently. I think it's in my guide too. Yeah, Facebreaker is very common. And as you've seen, like, just while we're grinding this, you do get a lot of 6 sockets. How do you estimate a unique chancing difficulty? Nextly, we're gonna know for sure exact rarity, but for this thing, it's just like what's the word I'm looking for? Anecdotal evidence and knowledge based on drops. All doors should auto open. Yeah, I hate doors. What's this percent? 12%. That's pretty decent. You'll notice like a lot of items are corrupted. And if you're wondering why there's sometimes 6 things that drop them, that's because like when something that has the ability to have 6 sockets, so like staff, bow, chest, there's a big chance that there'll be 6 things. Are you happy that SSF has become the default league starting racing? No, not really. I definitely prefer trade league racing, but there's not enough people doing it, and it's too easy for once the races start getting bigger that people are just gonna like feed people or help people out, which isn't a problem on SSF. So it makes a lot more sense, but I think there's something special about like group and trade racing as well. I think that is still fun. And like they have a decent amount of like quantity here. Well, actually not that much. But still, it's they're pretty great to farm. I'll definitely be doing this at least start. I would get like at least like map, div card, quad tab, currency tab. Currency tab is the most important one, then map tab. And then like 4 or 5 premium stash tabs. Maybe an invited only trade race? Yeah, we've done group found a few times and it's been pretty fun and pretty successful. I prefer group self-fundraising because then you have no feeding. It's your least favorite skill gem in the game. Conversion trap. Least favorite build you've played? Ball, lightning, ember wake, taming, ignite. We had 116 from this earlier. But it is pretty nice. Tier 16 maps, yeah. Tier 16 maps and Delve are both really good options. Yeah, so if you use a midnight, it's going to be higher level area than a dusk. The only difference. So higher item level. And you can't use multiple to open an area. No, Flame Dash Totems haven't been bad both times I played them. Flame Dash Totems was bad one of the time because of a bug. Like they wouldn't dash when they were too close. I don't think the explosion itself can impale. Probably not. Is there a point break for attack speed for Earthquake? No, like that's gonna depend a lot on, for example, with like Fist of War, you're gonna be like very encouraged to be slow, because if every attack is empowered by Fist of War, that's gonna be a lot better than if every other attack. So it'll depend a little bit on how you build it. Coming in for XP only is better to run white maps? Well, no, you'll get less density and you'll run out of currency. Like, you will 100% run out of currency on SSF. That is still a struggle. Like, even having enough alchemy orbs have been a problem in SSF some leagues, not in Delirium. Is it worth to play Ancestral Warship build next league? So any build specific questions? Have no idea. I don't work for GTD and I don't have the patch notes. Any build specific questions, pointless to answer right now. This is a Stormbrand Archmage. It is extremely likely to not work next league, and there's a lot of changes to brands that they could end up feeling pretty bad. I'm fairly worried about brands, to be honest. This is a very cool build at the moment. When do you start using Sextants? Tier 11 to 13s. Depends a little bit on the meta and how like rich I am and stuff, especially on maps, but yeah, tier 11 to 13s. Sometimes I save them for tier 16s only. Patch notes are tomorrow night. Probably 36 hours from now. I'm starting a penance brand build no matter what. Say a prayer for me. I think you're needing it. I think you're gonna go like, hey Zizaran, I wish I had like thought a little bit more about my build. That's gonna be you like one day into the league, I think. I wish I'd waited a little bit. I don't have much faith in especially penance brand. Does not look good. So many monsters here. This is great. Yes, I'll be doing a patch note stream. Hello, audio. We're like 3 hours. There's been a few times where people have been very stubborn on what build they're gonna play, and they're like, "Yep, that was a mistake." Penance brand self curse is gonna be pug as fuck, my guy. All right. I'm excited, dude. Didn't look good in the video, but then again, most videos they don't look good like that. Probably this, or a bow build maybe. Hey, Vanity. Vanity could probably have a better drop rate. Can we get normal 16 items by 5-to-1 vendor recipe with corrupted items? What do you mean? Not sure I'm understanding. Do you mean like the trusted, whatever it's called? Not trusted treasure. What's it called? Do you think you deal Eternal Swords Fist for melee? Hate it. Will you be up for the manifesto tonight? Maybe. Have not decided yet. Have not decided. I'll either log on... Maybe log on at midnight. We'll see. Oh, the base item. No, doesn't work. Were you worried about brands? Just like after reading the notes with the changes, a lot of the way they describe the brands are gonna work now just doesn't seem nice. In my opinion. Do the new Earth Shatter skill some skill explode the spikes if you cast it twice at the same spot? I don't know. I mean, if it doesn't, it'll be dog shit. Your suggestion for Brain Dead, Endgame, Boss Killer, patch notes. What's the fastest speed clear build in current meta? This is probably one of the fastest. Essence Drain's really fast too. Wait for the patch notes. Headhunter's off first. I guess you missed the point where he said without Headhunter. Nice. I'm curious, what's the difference between the Arcanist brand and a spell totem? Not much now. Well, I mean, they can't be killed. That's the big benefit of brands still. Brands seem more similar to totems now, which is not great. Are Herald Stackers going to be broken for sure, or is that not? Yeah, it's 100% going to bring. I hope they fucking pummel it into the ground and nobody wants to play it. Are you going to wait for the patch notes? What, tonight? I'm not streaming for 30 hours now, no. High prevailing. Yeah, brands can't get chilled, stunned, and killed. But yeah, I don't know. Not like we ever cared for totems to not die. You recast them anyway. That's not true. It's super annoying if your totems are just getting instantly killed or stunned in boss fights. One example being the Shaper Arena. If you're a new player and you litter the arena and the balls, you can't cast your totems anyway because they instantly die. Obviously, brands have a huge advantage over that. Any hopes for Ice Crash builds? So, my prediction of what is going to happen, and Buttscar, thank you for the 19 months. OBD, the beard, thank you so much. And Pride, thank you for the 5 months. Deathclaw, thank you for the Twitch Prime. My prediction of what is going to happen is that things like Earthquake, Ice Crash, and like particularly two-handers is going to be really strong in Harvest. I can totally see that happening. Doesn't necessarily mean that it will, but I can very easily see that happening. What I can also see happening is that these are not going to be racing skills. I can see them being like really strong and powerful and feeling good, but that they're going to be a lot slower than both Spellcaster, Bow, Wand, and just dual wielding and stuff. I can see them being used a lot as bossing, and a lot of people still using them. Which is fine. The majority of the game don't care that much about speed. Brands do reflect and leech, yes. I don't know, I don't think Bow will be part of the two-handed buff. How do you judge something as a good league starter? I try to make sure all my league starters work with like bare minimum gear, basically just life resist and dog shit stuff. And if it looks good on paper with that, then I can always make it a lot better with proper gear. And I try to avoid using any uniques that aren't like exceedingly easy accessible, or usually no uniques at all. It's generally how I like do all my like league starter stuff. So it can really only be so bad. Can it? We'll see. No, you can use axes on non-bleed. Thanks, fun effect. Is your target DPS defense for an endgame viable build? For boss farming and hardcore, like 800,000 to 1 million damage, I would quite like to hit. 600k isn't too bad. Yeah, I agree, Manderlands. Oh, something new, unique bow? It sure is special! Thanks, I hate it. Sums up my thoughts. I'm actually more mad that Arcanist brand is Spellslinger without using a wand. Pretty big advantage, possibly. I don't think brands are gonna feel good. Thank you for the 38 months, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it. Corrupting Blood too dangerous and needs to be nerfed? No, not at all. Probably Occultist for Wintertide. It looks like an Occultist thing. I don't care about speculating on nerfs too much. It's possible to sustain influenced item farming in the current atlas. Not like permanently, no, but it's fairly easy to like farm. Actually, no, it's not that easy. It's a bit of a pain. But like Shaper and like Hunter and anything like that, it's fairly farmable now because we know what map it's going to open on. Like if I open a map now in Valdo's Rest, it's going to spawn Warlord. So now that it's spawning, I would put in all the juice I can and use a Zanamon. How do you feel about the Lightning Rest test? It's very good for softcore, not so much hardcore. Oh, Yoshara. Ziz, you look sick. Please go to bed. Stock is going to be going up this week. Invest now. Lower for dot bills? Not really. Like, as long as you have at least 600k, it's fairly viable. Patch notes today? Nope, tomorrow. With patch notes, is there now a good melee skill you can use? It's completely pointless question when you're a day away from patch notes. Completely pointless. Does anyone have an idea when the next stash tab sale? They usually do them at League launch. Do we know if harvest crafting will obey the cannot be changed type of bench mod? Quite often they don't in the first 3 days, and then GGG are like, we forgot, and then they fix it. Like I'm not, the like prediction questions are kind of pointless and a waste of time. I'd rather have different questions. Favorite league until now? Synthesis and Metamorph. Metamorph was really, really fun and enjoyable for me. I think it's the league where I played the most off stream. I'm not sure why, because I don't feel like Metamorph itself. I think it was just the Conquerors. See that up your stuff. When's the next Bay class? That is a weird thing to ask me. $20 to 30 hours in Utah. Are you sad to see Delirium go? Well, it's becoming core of the game. Do you like how you aren't able to save crafts from Harvest? No, I hate it. Manifesto is in like 6 to 8 hours or something. No streamer has voiced anything in Path of Exile. Haven't decided yet since their system. Metamorph felt efficient all around. You always pick... Yeah. I don't know. It's something I really like about it. You farm Chabida or random 6-link from Franks? Usually fragments. Depends how many. If I get a shit ton of humility cards while I'm still leveling up to like 64, 65 in Blood Aqueduct, then I'll farm Chabida. Probably Trickster Evasion, call me. What class would be better for an Ice Crush build? I can see Berserker being really good for Ice Crush, to be honest. The new Warcries look awesome. Favorite boss fight and most hated? Probably Uber Elder is favorite. Crusader or Veritania is the most hated. I think it's stupid that the most scary thing that the Crusader has and the most scary thing that Veritania has is her auto attacks. It seems... It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It makes no sense. Why is the most scary move that a boss has not a big like charge up attack with that is like telegraph, but why is it the auto attack that they're just doing casually? 9k damage, 13k damage, 26k. LOL. Like why? It's so badly designed. It's like super amateur. It's so badly designed. Do you think it's a purposeful design from GDD to start with more hardcore pointless shit, like picking up metamorph parts and then fixing them later? No, just a dev time issue. They try to do way too much and too short. But I mean, they also do more than any other game company. Like, they're incredibly talented. But it's too short a time frame. I don't think that's going to change because they lose too much money. At least Veritania's auto attacks are pretty easy to avoid. Yeah, but it's still stupid that the auto attacks is the main thing you want to avoid. Yeah, Alamir wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, they crack out so much. Like as much as I'm fairly critical about a lot of stuff, and Reddit is too. But like it's important to remember like the sheer amount of content that we get is insane. Already answered you, Sinceristum. Yeah, we can upload this to YouTube. So Brand's dead? I still haven't read patch notes. I still haven't read them. Is there any way to change the music to something more chill? Rise of the Valkyries is pretty intense. This isn't Rise of the Valkyries, this is Ori and the Blind Forest. There. No other game developers ever put this much content out? Yeah, pretty much. It's insane. I'm very excited for the harvest crafting. I'm a little bit worried about how the community is going to feel about it, because a lot of it seems tedious. You can't save crafts, and generally the community at large has never really loved crafting and advanced crafting. So I think it's going to be synthesis again, where people are going to see streamers like figuring out the mechanic, and while there will be videos and stuff, especially people that aren't like watching tutorials and guides might feel very, very left out and not enjoying the mechanic if they're not intuitive. What do you do before your career as a streamer? Student. On a matter of music, how will you solve the new Twitch rules considering DMCA? Nothing has changed in the rules. I don't know why people think that. The rules are the same as always. If you don't own the music, you can't play it on stream. Some people, me included, have just done so illegally. I will just stop playing it because it's going to start being enforced more. I'll just stop playing music that I don't have the rights to or are okay to play. Right now we're listening to Ori and the Blind Forest, which is copyright free. Community hated since this, yeah. It looks like a really good SSF league. It really does. Allegedly. There's so many weird speculative questions. If your question gets ignored, it's probably because it's a weird speculative question that doesn't matter. Also, if you want your question answered, make sure you're tagging me at Zizaran or I'm not going to read it. Why did you hate Delirium and how would you have changed it? Well, actually, I did have a lot of... Okay, so on Delirium, there's a lot of like things. So I loved Delirium. I think it was pretty great. Delirium for me felt extra terrible just because the start of the league went so badly. It's the worst performance issue I've personally ever had, and I've never seen so many other people as well. Like, a lot of leagues will be bad on some systems just because of like performance changes and they haven't been able to test it on every system. Delirium was an absolute dumpster truck. And I ended up having to... I'm now using a dual PC setup just because of Delirium. So the PC here, I can like shut off right now and the stream will still be live. And I had to set that up. And then I had loads of audio issues and just so many problems. So Delirium was a massive issue. And I think Delirium drops way too much loot. It has a lot of bad things, like backtracking for loot is extremely punishing. And a lot of things that just don't feel good about it. But on the other hand, it also has a lot of good things, like it's very smooth with the way that it is part of the map. You just run through the portal and now you're in Delirium. So honestly, Delirium has probably a lot of the worst things I've ever seen in a league and a lot of the best things. And obviously like the color scheme, I don't even want to start. It's so fucking dumb. It's like maybe they really took to heart all the colorblind people complaining on Reddit about visibility, and they were like, well, you know what? Fuck everyone for this league. Yeah, I'm very excited, Float. Very excited. Like, for actually knowing how many chance orbs you need right now, it's just, we don't, it's very anecdotal. I know Harvest probably won't go well because of the theme, but I really hope it does just because I want crafting and non-loot explosions to become the future trend at TGD. Yeah, me too. Lol, Araki. Fuck you, now everything's grey. The Archie. Well, depending on how rare it is, it's gonna be huge. Especially because it's an implicit, so you can still craft it afterwards, so you can make bases. Crafting will be good for the 1 point or 0.1% that figures it out. Yep. Should be a tier 3 craft, right? Armor, ES, derivation. Generally ES, but like everything, especially when using multiple sources of defense, is the strongest. I think you're somewhat wrong about harvest crafting. A lot of the crafts we've seen so far don't really require any preparation. Min-maxing will be a thing as well, but it seems really easy to interact with the average player. Right. So I think you misunderstood a little bit of what I mean. So the problem right now is that a lot of players are not going to think ahead a lot. So the crafts, they've said that you can't save them. So you might get a craft that's really awesome and you have nothing to use it on right now. Like, generally they don't like advanced crafting. That's always happening pretty much. It's worse than Laban shots. Have we been trading with the league mechanic? I don't know. Didn't they say you'd have enough time to make a trade? Yep. And the majority of the population hate trading and try to avoid that as much as possible. And like, there's no good way of trading these. What do you think trade chat's gonna look like? I can exalt Fizz on your weapon 1x. Oh my god, X person scammed me for 2x. He said he could exalt Fizz. He took my item. That's what's gonna happen. So yeah. You can trade. Noogie! Thank you for the raid, dude. Thank you for the raid! How's your stream? Do you think Impale's too strong? I think it's necessary, yeah. Do you think SSL will be a better experience because you won't feel the pressure to go buy an item? Honestly, like, for a lot of people, yes. But not everybody likes that experience. I love trading. It's really fun. But there's something unique and special about SSF that you maybe warm up to over time. I would say the more and longer I play, the more enjoyable the game is on SSF. I'd say everything is very enjoyable on SSF because I've been very, very against this for a long time. I would say the game is way more balanced on SSF and that it would be so much easier and better to balance the game around SSF. I don't think that's necessarily ever going to happen, especially because they did say when they implemented SSF that the game is never going to be they're not even going to consider SSF when balancing the game. That's completely fair. But what I mean is there's so many feel-good moments that can happen in SSF. Even just finding like a small common unique can be like a huge victory. And finding items is way more exciting. Maybe Chain of Animators. I don't care much about speculative stuff, Kevin. Patch notes are in like 30, 36 hours or something. I mostly want to like answer questions that are more like... I'm not sure what the word I should use. Yeah, I'd rather answer more practical questions. When will Venus be tier 1 again? Balance Manifesto is today. Do you think Volatile Dead Arcanist brand could work? Yeah, I have a lot of hopes for Arcanist brand. That like sounds like a pretty cool concept. I just also feel like they've dumpstered the identity of brands with the way they're gonna work now. No, Tevi. What is a manifesto? It's like they're gonna talk a little bit about their decisions and why they're doing certain things, how they're gonna move forward, and like what's happening to some things, like what's being nerfed. But like not exact numbers, and the patch notes will have exact numbers. Yeah, Spider is great on my belt. Jnath, thanks for the 23 months. I've been trying to push them to make group self-found not so much as a permanent addition to the game, because I can see a downside there where they split the player base more, which I know they don't want. But I've been pushing them and asking every time to have group self-found as an official mode for private leagues. So an example would be of what, and this is something I want really hard for racing, and they've talked about it with me and said that it's something that might happen. And Chris has talked about it a few times with podcasts with me, where you would have, a private league with 2,000 slots or whatever, like normal, but you could go into groups of 6. Doesn't even have to be changeable in the first iteration, right? So it would be like, I would be, okay, well, I'm playing with Noogie and Steel and Havoc and Cute Dog or whatever, right? And then for that league, that is my group, and I can't change that group for that private league. And that would be really, really cool to do like group found races. Like, just set it as a cap of 6. That's a full party. Makes perfect sense. And shouldn't be too hard to implement as like a... Like, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time it's implemented. Still see people bitching about it. Rise can join too. Gotta wait for patch notes, Zeus. Gotta wait for patch notes. If playing hardcore, what should I look to upgrade first? Generally getting like all your gear up to like 70 or 80 life on every piece, and then depending if you want a unique chest piece or an influence chest piece, I usually save. I never use my fusings on like a mediocre armor early on, very rarely at least. I usually save up for like my endgame chest piece, so I can throw 1,000 or 2,000 fusings into them. Yeah, I'm also very surprised how little they've added to private leagues since they first added them. Hold on. I'm like, it's like tilting me. There, it's just like way too many stupid questions that are pointless to answer. Do you always fuse, or have you ever just benched it? No. I never benched it. I benched it one time 5.5 years ago. I'm a bit of a newbie, but I hear there's a threshold for spells to apply status quo such as chill and shock. How does that work exactly without getting into too much math? I think they chill, there's very little thresholds. Like, for example, it can be hard with cold damage to freeze like a tanky bear. Like, you need to do a certain amount of its damage to actually freeze and shatter it. And Sync, thank you for the 2 months. And Jaina, thank you for the 23. Probably, Peppy. Hello, Sai. You gotta make the text bigger? Well, no, it's just when I have the text there, I feel a lot better about ignoring questions. Like when people are asking me about build-related things or what I'm doing as my starter. How do you decide something isn't working and abandoning it versus knowing it's going to get better? That's mostly just an experience thing. Like one example would be explosive arrow. A lot of people struggle with that. And like Rice, for example, ended up abandoning it, I think. And he was like, this is suffering. Yes, playing SSF requires more time to achieve goals, 100%. So if you feel like you're finishing or ending Path of Exile too early and you're burning out and you're just sitting there with like no games to play, moving to SSF or hardcore SSF can like prolong that quite a lot, where you can maybe enjoy easily like 3 months of Path of Exile, and then you don't have to worry about playing like games that aren't as content updated. Will you do a class around different approaches of money like boss healing? Oh, I don't have time for any more classes than the ones I've planned right now that are on the schedule. But what I'm going to do is next league start, I'm going to up the production quality, have a lot more stuff prepared, and also have other streamers join as like teachers. It's the best way to practice them? Yeah, standard for sure, Yarn. What are thoughts on all the different things we have to get done for our characters in the league? Oil, jewel, maps completion. I mean, the more there is, I usually love it. But the oils and jewels isn't really... I'm not sure I understand. Any advanced tips for league starting SSF? pick up everything, go slow. Well, don't pick up everything, but like uniques in particular, like a lot of it is experience, but sometimes you can die on one build and you would have been able to do another one if only you hadn't vendored that like fairly common unique that you actually turns out you need now. Yeah, kill switch. Support gems? I hadn't even thought about that. Will you do more build roasts again? No. Do you need a PhD in POB to play SSF? I would like to do something if I had more time. Would be literally like a class session on Path of Building. How to use it, how to read it. I'm sure a lot of people don't use all the tabs, especially configurations and calcs, and don't look at this stuff. They're like, numbers. It will continue. Why did you stop doing build roasts? Because it was less content, or it was less popular content than me just playing the game and talking shit. So if I was, for example, playing the game and just streaming myself doing maps, I could get 3 or 4K viewers, and I would do a build roast and get maybe 2 or 2.5. Soon we'll all be back in school. Is it more stressful just for a new league? No, I'm usually like, I don't have too much stuff to do before a new league starts. And it helps a lot of people, and I quite like doing them. They're a lot more tiring, especially the Everything Explains and the crafting sessions. Like doing like a 5 or 6 hour stream, like educational like that, especially without prep work and having to think about everything, incredibly tiring. They do really badly on YouTube. The thing I do that does the best on YouTube is the play with me's and the Everything Explained. Even though they're 5-6 hour videos, they get like 100 to 200,000 views. I think the most popular video I have is my beginner guide with like 1 million views. That's actually a complicated question, Cripple. It's actually a good thing to answer. So for example, this critical strike chance will benefit spells, whereas critical strike chance on a wand or a weapon would not. So it's actually very confusing, and they've sort of done it in a bad way because it's very complicated what is global crit and what is local crit. So generally, if it says crit chance on a weapon, it is always local and will not affect your spells unless it says spell crit. And then anything else like jewelry, amulets, or on the skill tree will be global. It is pretty complicated. And some things will say like melee critical strike chance. Like for example, you'll notice that spells have a base crit chance. So for example, here on Stormbrand, it has 5.5% crit chance base, whereas the crit chance for melee and attack skills is based off the weapon, so they don't have it on their actual attacks. So if I look at shield charge here, you'll see that it doesn't say like on Stormbrand that it has a base crit. So here you can see base crit 5.5, shield charge no base crit, and that's because it's using the weapon. That thirst isn't great. If the crit chance is shown on the weapon stat and it's local, people miss that stat changes on weapon very often. Yeah. Mystical, thank you for the 15 months. Pretty experienced player that avoids leveling like the play, but wanting to get better as it takes 6.5 hours to get to maps on League Start. Literally, it's just practice, just like anything else. Start using like, especially once you start being a little bit more conscientious, I think is the word, about what you're doing. A lot of people spend too much time on items and too much time in town fucking about or picking stuff up. Shield charge does have base crit. Only on offhand. Not with a weapon. All like weapon based things have used the thingy. So now that I'm using this, it's the crit chance from my weapon. What is a good Act 10 time? 4 hours. What tools do you use instead of the trade macro? None. Just logout macro. It's the only thing I use. Oh, nice, Overclearing was my problem. I stopped killing everything. Yeah, some people, especially maps, Well, you know, like, look at the remaining thing. Like, ah, there we go. 0 monsters remaining. Just right. So that's, like, a waste of time. Yes, you can play as a necromancer. What's the point of onslaught on kill from axe notes if it doesn't apply to some bosses? Well, it doesn't apply to any bosses. It's only on kill. So it's good for clearing and not good for bosses. That's the point. Barnabas, thank you for the 20 months. When to start crafting weapons with rusty stash recipe? Early on. Like, you use that until like Act 3 to 4, maybe in 5. I have an axe crafting guide that explains that. How do you approach item pricing when playing in trade? Experience, maybe starting high and lower it. But in my opinion, the worst thing people do, and I used to do this, is to overvalue an item and then not selling it. I remember there was one guy I messaged and his item was like fairly cheap. It would say something I would like have max paid like 30 to 40 chaos for, maybe 45, and it was listed for like 15. So I messaged him to buy it. I'm like, hi, I would like to buy your amulet listed for 15 chaos. He doesn't reply, but I see that he instantly relists it at 25 chaos. So I'm like, okay, thanks for the reply. So I whisper him to buy it again at 25 chaos. And then he does the same thing again. He doesn't reply, he doesn't sell me the item, he ups it to 35 chaos. And then I'm like, well, I'll buy it for as long as it's under 40. I messaged him again, buy it for 35 chaos, same thing. Doesn't reply, relists it at like 1x. And I'm like, well, I don't want to buy your item anymore, but fuck you, random dude. Message him again, he ups it to 3x. I message him again, he ups it to 7x. That item didn't sell that entire league. So I don't know how people like that really work. Like, I've done something similar, which I'll explain in a little bit. But what was he doing? Like, nobody's messaging me for my item now. Just perfect. It's so weird. So I will always intentionally fuck people that do that over, especially when they don't reply. I will like keep messaging them and hope that they increase the price. And then when they like, oh, like, okay, now I'll sell it. I'll be like, no, fuck you. It's horrible. Like, it's so stupid. The only time I did something like that myself early on in Path of Exile, I had very, very close to mirror-worthy boots early on in Nemesis. Now, obviously, there was a lot less tiers. So I think it had something like 40% fire S, 40% cold, and 36% lightning, which was like tier 1, tier 1, tier 2. It had 30% movement speed, which was the highest then. And it had 70 life, which was the highest roll. So it was like almost perfect boots. And I got offered 22 exalted orbs and mirrors for 25x. So I got offered a little shy of a mirror for the boots. And I was so excited. But then I was like, but this was the first offer I got. And I was very new to the game. And this is a very real fear. A lot of people are like worried about selling a crazy item for too cheap. 2x boots nowadays. And I mean, that's still great. So yeah, I was really worried about selling it. And then I was like, no. And I still have those boots. I still have those boots. They never sold. So generally, unless you are 100% sure, like this is an amazing item, and if it doesn't sell, I will use them. I'd have to find them. It's still on perma hardcore somewhere, so I will not show you, but I will explain why I will not show you. I have no idea how to find them. They're here somewhere. This is after cleaning it. I spent 6 or 7 hours cleaning it. I removed 600 tabs. So I don't think I'll find them. They should be in an original tab. So like one of these. Well, some of them are in between here. Hey, Kava. Standard players hate him. This is hardcore. So I don't think I'm finding them. But like, yeah, the important thing, like obviously this is incredibly hard in Path of Exile, selling things and making sure you get the value out of them that you want. But if it's the difference, if you're fairly sure that it's the difference between 20 to 40 chaos, or like just squeezing an extra 5 chaos out of my very item, generally take the sale and you're going to be a lot richer. Take the sale. If you're getting like spammed, like you list something and getting like 4 messages, then, you know. What do you think of potion macros? I mean, that would be an okay solution. I would rather flasks be reworked. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they allowed people to use fast macros. For new players, chaos recipe is good if you don't know what items are worth and stuff. Find them. No. We have a lot of cool things here too, though. Wait. For this one? This is like a lot of cool things. Some of my favorite items. Like my first Headhunter, first Legacy at Series Acuity, Legacy Vinctar. There are very few of these items on Hardcore. Where's the chest? Not that one. I have a cooler one. That one. Demon Salvation. I identified this. Not with the suffixes. It had an open suffix, so I wiped the suffixes and exalted till I got in. But I identified a triple tier 1 Val Regalia. And I like almost didn't notice. Probably last epoch, J-Mike. I got it in a core map. Tier 15 core map. Pretty cool. No, I actually can't move my camera right now. Because I have a very, very static camera mount. And I have a Sony a6000. I don't use like a camera, like a webcam anymore. What's the most expensive item that you have? This is like kind of not super useful for most people, but I think we ran out of the most useful things without repeating. This, I think it's 40 or 50 mirrors or something. Second most would probably be Tormund Ren, although it's worth less now. But it is pretty cool. Sure again, Alpha's Hell. It's because of the skin, not the item, obviously. All of these are like alternate art skins. Except this. I do not 10x. Why 50 mirrors? Alt art. It was the best axe in the game. Thanks for doing this. You answered like 6 of my questions and I learned a lot today in the last few days. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. Have you considered double corrupting any of these crazy items for fun? We have a different indication of fun. What the fuck is that? So these are alt art skins. Path of Exile used to do races and race seasons where you would... I will show you. And this is something we want back. I've suggested they do a battle pass. I think that's the best way. I've seen other games do it. Where's the race tab? Here. Seasons and events. So for example, the last one was Medallion. And you would get points. And these are all... It's not so much about the uniques that you're getting. That was rarely the case, that you were doing it for the uniques. It's all about that they have different skins. So if you look in the past... Let's see, I can't remember... Was Emberwake? No, there was one of the earlier ones that I raced in, but I stopped. Season 5? Ah, here's it. So here, in one of the earlier seasons, I'd already started racing. So this is back in like 2013 or 14. Race season 5. And this was Divination Distillate, which is an item I still have and really wanted. It was on in the special hardcore tab. So I really wanted this. And I was like, well, I want the item. I want this for using it in the league. Because this was very expensive. It was a very, very expensive and just one of the... It was the best installed flask because you just always got quantity. So back then, for me, it wasn't just because they looked cool. It was because I only wanted the item. But then I was like, Queen's Decree, that's like one chaos item. And I ended at 135 very early in the race season. So I could have tripled my points and just farmed that. And this is like 30 or 20 mirrors now or something. Yeah, TG, I would like that. It's worth a shit ton. I could have had that. I played here. So a lot of these, like, especially older ones, like, are worth an absolute shit ton. Like, not these, like, first ones, but, like, this one, worth an absolute shit ton. That one. I'm surprised that one's worth so much. That was that low points. Hey, Tempura. Who cares about mirrors on standard? Well, the thing is, and this is something they've just said that they're going to do multiple times and never actually have. But what a lot of us want, and that they've also said they want to do, is something like a skin transfer that turns something on standard into a permanent microtransaction. So that I would use it on my Alpha Hal, and that it would destroy the item and put it in my MTX thing, so that I could use it on any league. So that you maybe pay 10 or 5 or 20 or even $30 to turn any item in the game into a skin. And that would, like, that's like why a lot of people are collecting these and want them. And that would be really good in general for a lot of like older stuff. Like, for example, or not older stuff as well, but because these aren't coming back in the game, so that helps a very small amount of people, right? It's not like they're gonna get a crazy amount of money from that, but there are a lot of items in the game that look really cool. Brass Dome looks fucking amazing. Several uniques just look really, really cool. Ivory Tower. So I already use those when I find them, but it's kind of a shitty feeling. In, for example, Hardcore, when Brass Dome is sometimes 3 or 5x, you don't really want to use that as a skin transfer. Why not open the boxes and just collecting old boxes? It's like, they're old ones you can't get anymore. But, like, I think that would be completely okay to have us, like, somewhere like $10 to $30 to turn an item into a permanent MTX. And they already have the code, basically. It shouldn't be too hard. Salvage box, kill me. Well, the way I look at it, it feels a little bit like people having, like, alpha boosters. You know, from, like, Magic. So maybe, like, maybe my last day ever of streaming Path of Exile or something like that, I could, like, open the really, really old boxes that you can't get anymore. See, max time for the 2 years. That one? No. I mean, was it lastly? Will it be the next? How does it work? Oh, they've stopped doing that 3 or 4 years ago. That is fireworks. Nice order. Homeland booster. How many hours until they release patch notes? 30 or so. What is your 5-year plan? Continue growing on Twitch, making a lot of connections. I want to, like, set up, like, more events, etc. Is my current 5-year plan. For a long time, it was for a long time, my goal was being, like, top 10 on Twitch for an extended amount of time, like a week or two, which I did not last December, but the one before that, I was, like, top 10 most watched streamer on all of Twitch for, like, a week and a half. I'm going to continue just growing and working on my stream. You're dyeing your hair blue? No. The verified on Twitter was actually a goal of mine for a very long time. I need some new goals, but we're gonna go hard. I wanna hit, for now, I wanna hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think it's a pretty good goal, and I wanna, like, push hard on making good YouTube content. And this is a bit insane, but it's something like, it's either 10 times or 100 times the amount of people use YouTube, they use Twitch. So, like, the amount of views that Twitch gets in a day, YouTube gets 100 times that. So that's why it's a really good thing to use YouTube to, like, feed into your Twitch. You can make a lot of money on YouTube. You make way more money on Twitch. Yes, I have a YouTube editor. Raka Gaming 2, thank you for the 46 months. Me too, Sekina. Honestly, I'm feeling a lot happier at the moment. Especially early last league, I was, like, borderline depressed. I was just really fucking down and everything was going wrong. So I was really, really sad. And I felt like it made for really bad streams, and I was like getting like really snappy and stuff. Whereas like the last few weeks have been fucking amazing and everything's going better and better. You already have the best content on YouTube for Path of Exile. Just work on your pronunciation and you'll be the PoE king. Thanks. I've been trying, especially in the last 5 videos, to like pronounce things better. Oh, nice, Yuffie. Sometimes you gotta take a break. Yeah, I played a lot of Kenshi. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. Will you do the roasting anymore? I might do them as like non-scheduled stuff and as sub goals, but yeah. Occultist is kind of sometimes an advantage for bosses because of the ES recharge while taking damage. How do you pronounce GIF? Like it should be pronounced. Oh, thanks, Evs. I feel your YouTube content would be better if it was shorter. So I do a lot of shorter videos as well. And this is something that annoys me a little bit, because I feel like that mentality happens a lot on races as well. Whenever there's a long race, people always like, oh, why isn't this a shorter race? Well, there are shorter races, and I do have shorter videos. I like having both. A lot of people want like longer content now coming up to Harvest. There's not that much to watch. There's not that much to do. So a lot of people really like long content to watch. And obviously, like, that's not something that's like possible to edit. Like editing a 6-hour video, like, realistically isn't possible. But yeah, I do shorter, like 10 to 20 minute videos as well. But like the views speak for themselves, right? Like, hold on. Hey, here's one example of the last Everything Explained I did. This is a 5-hour video with 200,000 views. And it's got like an insane average watch time of like 60 or 40 minutes or something. What RPG outside of PoE are you the most excited for? Last Epoch. More like, why not cut out 5 minutes when you go to the bathroom? Because mostly what we're doing now is basically downloading and instantly re-uploading it to YouTube. If you have to like start editing, then you have to render the 6-hour video, which, for example, my editor's computer would take a really long time. So it's just not feasible to do at the moment. And it's YouTube, right? You can like fast forward. You can click through it. Is there eye level thresholds for certain gear pieces you should focus on? Yeah. I go into explaining that in most of the crafting guides I recently did. Like, for example, item level 77 for tyrannical and weapons and stuff. What IRL preparation are you doing for late starts? My fiance does like, she like really like does the extra level. Like she'll like either text me or come up and ask like, hey, do you need any Coke? Do you need food? She does a lot of meal prep. We do a lot of food that is like really easy to like eat on loading screens. So that, you know, like while I'm loading, I can go like, food I can eat through straws, like lighter soups, stuff like that. Hey Havoc, what's up? Get her to feed you during the start. She has done that a few times. My watchstone level is low, but I can't go higher. I just run maps till I get better. Watch the Atlas explanation I have on YouTube. You still blend your foods? I actually never did that. I just said that as a joke. You ignored my question? Yes. Would you change your league starter if you got a good unique drop from, say, Hillock? No. That realistically can't happen. The only thing Hillock could drop would be a tabula, which is never going to change my plans. Bye, but thanks for the Twitch Prime. How many hours do you plan to play the first week? Like that? Maybe like that. 140 the first 7 days? Usually lately I've been sleeping around 8 or 9 hours per day. Today I am, or like first week I'm hoping to sleep 4 or 5 hours per day. But lately I've been sleeping 9 hours per day at League Launch. Yeah, they've talked about doing that order. It's never ever worth farming an Onigoroshi. They've already talked about that a lot on the interviews and stuff we did in New Zealand. 6 things are going to be easier in PoE 2, like in the gems, but getting Everything 6 synced will be harder. I don't lander. That is definitely something I want to do. You're racing to 100 or the laptop. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Vulcan's awesome. So I'm probably going to wrap up pretty soon. So it's just so warm right now. And then I'm going to possibly be back for the manifesto later.